up, squad? It's your two-wheel loving boy, your moto familia, your friend, Shock Moto. I hope you all had a wonderful set of holidays, Christmas, New Year. Hope they treated you wonderfully. You got to spend time with the people that mattered to you. It's super nice to be back doing videos again. The holidays sucked up pretty much all of my time. I was also in the process of getting a new job at work, so that took up most of my priorities as well. So apologize for the lack of videos the last few weeks, but I've just, you know, been doing the Brad thing, not so much the Shock Moto thing, so I apologize. But you know, now that we're getting into the new year, have a little bit more time settling into my new job. So yeah, looking forward to making a lot more videos. Today's is actually kind of especially exciting. I'm on my way up to Kirkland, Washington today. Take this bike here, the Shiver 900, to Wheel DynoWorks in Kirkland. We're gonna hook this bike up to the dyno, see what kind of power output we're seeing today, see if we can suck anything else out of the bike with my current configuration. I don't really have any mods on the bike in terms of performance, exhaust, anything like that, so this will be kind of my first foray into the performance modification experience, so really looking forward to it. My buddy Jordan, he has an MT-07. He took his bike here and he kind of swears by the place. They sucked out another 20 horsepower and they made his throttle control a lot more smooth, so hoping we can do a little bit of the same. Now the Shiver doesn't have a lot of aftermarket support, so I'm hoping that we don't run into any complications, lacks of ECU flash. You know, I'm to be frank, pretty new to this, so I don't know a lot. So I'm really looking to go learn today, kind of document the experience, take you with me on the journey. Hopefully other Shiver 900 owners out there can learn a little something from the experience in terms of, you know, how does the bike perform stock, and what can we do to draw some extra power out of it. So as you can see, it's kind of a beautiful day here in Seattle today. Really looking forward to this ride. The weather's supposed to turn at any minute though, so you know, I'm knocking on bike here that we get to stay that we get to have some good weather throughout the rest of the day. Running into some traffic today, not surprising though. I-5 North is traditionally pretty crappy, so I gotta tell you though, I've been acclimating to the Shiver even more. You know, there was a period of time, and you may have been able to hear it in my videos before, where, you know, again, I was a little bit intimidated by this bike, but the more I spend time with it, the weight just doesn't bother me. You know, you learn how to get your center of gravity into the right part of the bike so you can counterbalance, and, you know, honestly, it really doesn't feel that bad. Now, this isn't a sport bike, so you're not really getting into that leaning position. You're not going to be going, you know, full tuck on this bike here. I mean, maybe you can, but that's not really what it's designed for. So ultimately it will get shredded up in the corners by like a solid sport bike, but you know, again, that's not really what it's for. And now that I'm really learning how to ride this bike, I'm getting so much more comfortable with it, and it really just goes to show, and I know I've said this in previous videos, but you just got to stick with a bike for a while. You know, if you feel like you're outperforming the bike, you're likely not, and you just need to spend a little bit more time with the bike itself and really figure out what your limits are. I'm starting to lean a lot more on this bike than I did when I first bought it. I had such a crappy lean percentage when I first got this bike because I was just so intimidated. To be fair, you know, if you don't know how to center yourself over this bike, as soon as you're tipping it, it just feels like it wants to go down to that side. So not extremely confidence inspiring to you start leaning that bike, but you learn how to get on the throttle early. You learn how to keep the bike upright, utilize that gyroscopic effect. So, you know, kind of long-winded, but all I'm saying here is, if your bike's scaring you, you know, well, that's good. It should scare you. But secondarily, you spend more time with it. You know, just slow speed maneuvers, spend more time with it. Don't be afraid of dropping it. Just be more concerned with progressing as a rider. But yeah, now that I've had this bike for a solid 3 months now, solid 90 days, I love it. All I want to do is just invest and focus time into this bike here. I'm not even really looking at other bikes. Now eventually I do want to get a track bike, just because I think it'd be fun to have something to take to the track and tear up on. You can do that on this bike, but you know, like I said, it's not really meant for super aggressive leaning, so I would like to get a bike like that eventually. Maybe right now I'm kind of between a CBR 600RR and an R6, so we'll see how it goes in the future. But I got plenty of time to just continue to practice, get better as a rider before I really even worry about that. Gorgeous day here in Seattle, Washington now. Again, I don't know how long it's going to stay this way, so I'm just getting it while I can, but it's Beautiful day. It's hard to stay vigilant, you know, and pay attention to the road when you have such majestic sights around you. My buddy Dallas, he rides a, I don't know the year exactly, but it's fairly new. I'd say it's about 5 years old. He's got a Triumph Street Triple RS, 675, I believe is what it is, inline 3. A gorgeous bike. We just did a pull the other day in 6th gear around 60 miles an hour, just up to 100, and we were neck and neck the whole time. So I'm hoping that with a little dyno tuning here, I might be able to overtake him in the 0 to 100. Now, I do think that once we get over 100 miles an hour, that's where his bike starts, you know, outperforming mine. But ooh, the torque on this bike, man, it just really allows me to keep up with some of the best bikes out there. Again, until you get till around 100 miles, which is about where I feel comfortable anyway. I really don't need to be going much more than 100 miles an hour to feel like I'm getting that shot of adrenaline that I'm looking for. Oh, hey, Wheel DynoWorks is right next to the old Evergreen Safety School. This is where I went to learn how to ride a motorcycle in the first place, so that's kind of cool. Here we are, Wheel DynoWorks Kirkland. Super excited to take the Shiver inside. You can see I got it sitting right there. Just enjoying my hokoi before I go inside and see what they can do. And talking to them, it sounds like they may not be able to draw more power out. Apparently, Aprilia is pretty good about getting maximum power stock, especially with the stock exhaust. I don't really understand, but I do want to try to get some more smoothness out of this. So let's go inside and see what they can do for us. Interesting. Alright, well, we just wrapped up at Wheel DynoWorks in Kirkland, and it was an amazing experience, man. Such cool guys, very, very knowledgeable, very passionate about trying to draw out every ounce of power that they can out of your bike. So all in all, really happy I went. Now, for those of you wondering how my bike's performing now, well, we didn't really do anything to it. It turns out that there's really not much that you can do to optimize the power delivery or the smoothness of the Aprilia Shiver 900. It's already optimized. It's basically the only things you can do to make this bike more powerful and smooth are to get an Aprilia exhaust, stick that on the back. That'll give you that'll take about 13 pounds off the bike, and it'll provide you, like, I forgot what it was, but it was like maybe another 4 Newton meters of torque. So I mean, it's great, but is it worth $1,000? I don't know that it is, personally. The other thing that you can do is get an O2 regulator. It basically optimizes the amount of O2, and it's actually calibratable. You can dial it in as you ride, so a little bit of trial and error involved there, but you can regulate the amount of O2 that gets released into, like, I think it's the fuel line. And what that does is, you know, for those of you who have a Shiver 900, you're probably already aware of this, but roughly around 5,000 RPMs, depending on what mode you're in and, you know, different conditions around you. Let me make sure I'm staying safe here. So yeah, anyway, when you're around 5,000 RPMs, it kind of gets a little bit of lean on the gas, and it kind of juts around a little bit. So apparently an O2 regulator can help me kind of smooth that out a little bit, so that the power band delivery is just very wide, very smooth the whole way. So yeah, I mean, that's it, guys. It only cost me $100. I was able to hook it up to the dyno. It was an awesome experience. Happy to say that I don't really need to spend a bunch of money to get the most optimized Shiver 900 I can find. So again, well done, Aprilia. Again, just loving this bike and how much power it has. I didn't really need any more power anyway. I was just kind of curious what it could do. So thanks again, Nels and team at Wheel DynoWorks. Thanks everyone for tuning in. I'll be making another video here shortly, specifically about the different mods that I have on my bike and how I'm staying dry and warm during the winter months. But thanks for tuning into this video. I hope you found it informative. I certainly wasn't able to really find any videos on this topic for this specific bike. It's just such a unique bike, which is great because, you know, obviously it's cool to ride around on something that not a lot of people have seen before, but that also means that the bike hasn't sold a lot. So it's hard to find aftermarket availability, hard to find kind of mid-market parts, unless you're trying to go all in on racing parts and get the most expensive stuff you can buy. But I'm not, you know, aspiring to be a professional rider by any means. So I just want parts that look cool, sound cool, maybe make the bike feel more powerful, and those parts just don't really exist for the Shiver 900. So for those of you out there that are thinking about maybe purchasing a Shiver 900, I gotta be honest with you, that's probably the biggest drawback of owning this bike, is there's really not a lot of mods that either look good or are specifically made for this machine. So again, if I knew when I was buying this bike what I know today, it's possible I would have gone with another bike. But again, I still just love the smoothness, the look, the aesthetics, the sound, everything about this bike I love. It's just those little tiny nuances that, you know, make it a little bit annoying owning a Shiver 900. So still worth it. And I know that's a bit of a long-winded exit, but thanks so much for checking this in. I hope you found it entertaining. I hope you like and subscribe for more content, and I'll see you in the next one.